Am I ready to talk some spoilers? Like guts flying on the back of Zod, I'm ready to talk some spoilers. Hey, what's up, bookworms and strugglers? Mike back today to talk some Berserk. And today, guys, we're getting into some spoilers in the Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc of Berserk. Now, I did do my overall standard review of that right here. You can check that out. That's just going to be kind of my feelings, what I liked, what I didn't like, what worked for me, why I think maybe you'd like it, and of course, just, overall thoughts and opinions. But this, guys, is going to be talking about some of the biggest moments. Now, I want you to understand, this is not going to be a beat for beat. I am definitely not the guy to do that. There are so many other great manga-focused YouTube channels out there that will give you analysis chapter by chapter of this story. That's not me. I'm just going to kind of talk about some things. I'm going to talk about some things I'm probably going to have you guys clear up for me in the comments because, that's kind of the par for the course with every one of these reviews is where you guys tell me that I didn't understand it. So I always love to be educated on these things. So definitely I am not a know-it-all on these things. So I am excited to hear what you said. I didn't feel like doing the full review and then spoilers at the end for this arc because it's so long. I feel like I would have just really been rushing things and that review would have been 45 minutes long. So I said, hey, why don't we just go ahead and divide this into two, make it easier on everyone. So guys, with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into Berserk, Falcon of the Millennium Empire here. And if you haven't read these yet, I'd say wait, watch this after you've read them because we are going to kind of talk about spoilers and I'm going to show you some pictures while I do it. So just some of my favorite moments, guys. I got to talk about how this arc really begins with Guts confronting Griffith and, getting to actually, this whole time I've been waiting for him to catch up with this new version of Griffith, which I believe is, the demon baby, like reborn. Is that how this exactly works? I don't really know if I have an answer to all that. So we're going to start this off with, you guys can clear that up for me. Feel free. If it's not a spoiler, if that's something that's still yet to come, that's fine. But I was at first. I was really confused. Is this actually Griffith or is this like a reincarnation? What is this really? And I think I understand it, but I said that I was going to reread the end of Conviction again before I started this, so I would kind of get that cleared up, and I didn't. So I'm just lazy that way, guys. I have so many things going on. I don't have time to reread things, and then when I do, it's just like I kind of forgot about it. I'm just going to play some video games instead. But I derail already. But seeing him confront Griffith obviously is a great thing. And then seeing when Griffith basically says like, no regrets, bro. I don't regret a thing that I did to your friends in the Hawk. And that's just like, wow. That would have been so much more, that's so much more brutal than if he had just been like, oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. Or, hey, why don't you do something about it? He's just like, I don't even care. Whatever, just kind of brush him off. Of course, this pisses Guts off, man. He's at him. He is at him. And that's when, boom, Zod from out of nowhere is like, not so fast, my friend. And I love it. Dude, I talked about it in the non-spoiler. Anytime Guts and Zod are crossing blades, man, I am here for it. No matter what form Zod is in, I am here for that fight. And this is some great stuff here. Again, anytime Mr. Miura is drawing action, it's already great. Anytime he's drawing Guts and Zod action, it is next level. So I love everything. I read this fight right here. I read this like 3 times. This was so good. I felt like this was their best matchup yet. And I think they've had a couple of them at this point. I think this might be the 3rd or 4th time they've actually fought. But again, guys, I'm going off memory from like a year ago, and I've read so much since then. I know a lot of people have read Berserk about 1,200 times, and they can tell me exactly, and they will. They will tell me below exactly how many times. But it's a great fight, and I love to see it. Anytime these two are getting at it, it is main event television, and it's no different here. But I think this kind of leads off to another big moment here, which is where I felt like, okay, Guts is losing his edge a little bit. He's actually starting to, I guess when he's trying to fight the demon so much, he kind of just like lets himself go, and then he gets like taken over by darkness and lust, and he actually attacks Casca. And I'm like, oh my God, is he raping Casca? I was actually blown away. I was like, oh my God, he's doing exactly what Griffith did. And then he kind of like snaps out of it, and he's fully clothed. So I'm assuming that was just a vision. There are some people out there like, oh yeah, I quit reading that arc when he did that to Casca, and I'm like, I felt like that was a vision, that was kind of like warning him, yeah, this is what's going to happen here, because I don't see her, walking around with her boob ripped off. I think like it looked like the wolf version, or the alter ego. What's it called? The Beast of Darkness, I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, I didn't see her missing any body parts after that, so I assume that was just like a warning of, okay, this is the way that I'm leaning, so I need to phone in some help. I need to phone a friend. I need to get a band going. And that's when he accepts a lot of these new people into his party. It's when he accepts Farnese and Serpico into his party. And if I call Serpico Jericho one more time, I'm going to flip tables. I don't know why I keep calling him Jericho. It's so weird. But yeah, I don't think I actually did, but every time I don't, I think that I do. It's a disaster. So yeah, he invites them in. Obviously, Isidro's coming with them. The annoying elves, and then we the new character Shirky, which I talked about in there, where I wasn't quite crazy about the character. Didn't dislike her, but I wouldn't say that I liked her necessarily. But I did like that, she has brought along magic to this party. That is something I feel like that's an element I think that they could use to get them out of some scrapes, and it does get them out of some big scrapes. I think about some that she just like incinerates some people in this. It's wild stuff. It's great, but yeah, you can see now that he really does need this full-on traveling party. And I love it. I love it because it feels like it took it to Quest Fantasy. That's something that I'm always a big fan of. I mean, look behind me. That's what I read mostly is Quest Fantasy. So I am all for it. They're going to try to go find Elfhelm now. And yeah, they have a party and they have a quest to try to heal Casca, which is something I griped about, is something that I feel like needs to come to an end. We need either our Casca back or she needs to go her own way. That's my hottest take in this entire series. I know people are like just completely blown away when I say that, but it's been like 200 chapters of her being the artist formerly known as Casca in this series, and I'm not wild about it. I need it to end. So getting those other people along with him, I think that kind of helps him keep his darkness at bay, but also teaches him some compassion. It teaches him some empathy, and it humanizes Guts. I think that's a big. If I had to say there's one theme in this arc for Guts, it's multiple things actually, not just one. It's learning to trust others. Learning to actually listen and trust others. Choosing to protect Casca over choosing to hunt down Griffith, because obviously you're not going to be able to do both. I don't think that's the best way to keep someone protected, is by going after this crazy, inhumanly strong beast of a character. That might not be the best plan of action. But yeah, and also, learning that you can't force things. I talk about in my non-spoiler review about that quote where he says, if you keep trying to force things, they're never going to be the way that they were, or something like that. He says it's something to that matter. It was just a quote that kind of just stuck out to me when he said it. So I feel like that gives him all the growth that I love about the character and what Mr. Miura does with his character development here. But I got to say, the character arc for Farnese is just superb in this. And it's one of those I didn't know that I wanted it. I didn't know that I needed. I didn't know that I wanted to like this character, really. Because, let's be honest, she's not very great. I mean, she's watching, like, executions and stuff with a smile on her face. Earlier here, she's very much just like a religious zealot, like a maniac. Early on, I didn't think this character would have any kind of redemption, but by the end of this arc, I really do like the character, which is wild. So, again, the guy's a master at character work, and it just kind of shows here. I love getting that backstory of her and Serpico as kids and showing how that happens, getting to find out their actual familial relationship. I think that he is her half-brother. It works out, but it can get complicated because I feel like that works out because she loves him like a brother. It can get complicated because I think he loves her not like a sister. So, I think her friend zoning you is the best thing for all of us, my friend. But it's a complicated backstory with them, but I think it's very good stuff, and it shows, why these two are attached at the hip. I really, really did like it. Serpico in this, I love the part where he gets the, is it called the Sylph Sword? I love that. It's almost like he's like a composer in an orchestra or something when he's fighting with that thing. It's like so effortless. And, he's already a badass fighter. And now you give him like just this god weapon. It's just great stuff. I love that they keep, I hate when you OP characters, but I love it in this because I've said before that with Guts, I felt like maybe he was a little too OP and I loved it. I was here for it. Yeah, happens again in this, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I gotta say, Serpico in this, now that I'm thinking about it, there's this one part where him and Guts fight again a second time, and I'm trying to remember why. I can't even remember why they were actually fighting, but it was a good fight, so I did want to mention it. And I think Guts does win the fight, but didn't kill him. Obviously, I would have been sucked if he did that. But I'm trying to remember why they were even fighting. I can't even remember. I don't know, guys. It's what happens when you take 3-month breaks between volumes. Sometimes you kind of forget. And I didn't think about that until just now. So if you guys could tell me down below why they were actually fighting, that might actually help. But so while I was lukewarm to Shiroki overall, like I said, I did appreciate magic taking a place in the story. Really gets them out of some scrapes. And I just love the way that he does it. He doesn't feel like he has to explain to me how the magic works. The magic just works. That's something that I argue about with fantasy fans all the time. I don't need an overly complicated magic system. Just give me the magic. You know what? I grew up reading Lord of the Rings. You know why Gandalf could do magic? Because he's a fucking wizard. That's why he can do magic. Same thing here. She's a witch, and she's obviously not that great at it, but she is, learning on the fly. It's on the job training, and she's doing a pretty good job of it. And I love when her and Guts actually kind of link, and whatever that. There's actual a term for it wherever they go, and she's actually able to help him when he's in that Berserker. Hey, let's talk about that Berserker armor. Oh my God, I think that giving Guts the Berserker armor is absolutely the most crazy thing to do. It is the worst idea. When he's trying to fight off this evil alter ego kind of thing he's got, this beast of darkness or whatever. But it's really, really awesome, isn't it? It's a epic moment. I think that is just pretty much like a pulling the sword from the stone kind of moment. Just awesome scene. I love that fight with, was it Grunbeld? It's so good, guys. But, seeing what this armor is doing to his body and his mental capacity, you can see why the guy is aging super fast. You look at the way that he was drawn in Black Swordsman. You look at it now, and he looks like he's aged 30 years almost. It's wild. So, he gets the white streak in his hair and things like that, but I think he's just looking more rugged. But, it's hard to tell because he's always bloody in this arc. He's always bloody or always healing, so... Yeah, but that moment was really, really kick-ass. And Grunbeld, that fight right there with Grunbeld is as epic as any fight that I think that we've seen for Guts in the series. I think that he has to... He's actually okay, my human form isn't good enough. Let me go to my apostle form. It's like a fucking dragon. I just love it, man. I love the transformations that this series does. But that fight between those two is just terrific. It was really, really worth it. It made the introduction of the Berserker armor really, really awesome. Now, I had seen an actual drawing of that armor before I even started the series. I just said, yeah, that looks really rad. And yeah, it really, really is. So I guess I should talk about Griffith a little bit here, because I do like that he kind of splits up their narratives. Their arcs are different. You don't get everything just from Guts' point of view. And, I might be mistaken on that. I think someone told me that I was wrong on that he actually, it isn't just told from Guts' point of view. In my memory, it feels like it's always been told from Guts' point of view, really, or he's always been on the page. We haven't seen a ton of stuff. Obviously, whenever you would see Griffith with Princess Charlotte, obviously Guts wasn't there, and, that's what got Griffith in trouble last time. So I guess that's why when they met this time, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I think that she was upset that he was in prison. She presumes that he's dead. It's the first time they're seeing each other in 2 years, and she loved him, but I wasn't quite sure I couldn't recall, really, how she felt about him. Was she upset that he kind of forced himself onto her in her bedroom that one night? I'm not really sure if I recall what exactly happened. I believe that she was still very much in love with him. I don't know. So this scene is something like out of a fairy tale, really. But that's perfect, because it's what I always said that Griffith feels like. It almost feels like something out of a fairy tale, or like a knight of the Arthurian legend or something. It's always how he's kind of felt. And this version of Griffith is very much almost like angelic in a way. And yeah, just such a cool scene with Zod just like flying the bed off. Exactly something like in a fairy tale. So really cool, but I wasn't sure how it was going to go. It was a lot of fun. I think Farnese confronting her family in this bit is really, really good stuff. She's willing to do whatever she has to do for her, her companions now. And again, that's another part of the character that you never could have seen that happening, before this arc. But she's very much, trying to get them a boat and a ride, things like that. And I gotta say, this whole thing with her sister Magnifico, I don't think it's too hot of a take to say, yeah, I don't like this guy. Sorry, I have a hard time getting over someone who just kind of, betroths you to one of his friends in return for a boat. However, Roderick does seem like a good dude, so it's kind of impossible not to like him. So I think that's might want to be those happy accidents, unless he's just putting on one hell of a facade. He seems like ever the gentleman. He does get the band out of some scrapes a few times. There is one part where Guts is unable to save Casca, and Roderick is actually the one who saves her. So the guy is very chivalrous. He almost makes me think of like if Griffith had went down the right path. That's kind of what I think about when I think about Roderick. So that's one of those things like, yeah, Magnifico, you're a shitheel for doing that. But you know what? Kind of looks like it might work out a little bit. So who knows? Oh God, the Ganishka in this, dude. Ganishka, the stuff in here is where this arc really goes to crazy town. Crazy town. I like the idea of an apostle that is like, look, I'm not bending the knee to the Godhead. I'm for that. Unless you're even crazier. And this guy is crazier. He realizes he can't beat Griffith in his own form, so he's got to like go to mega super crazy form. He decides he's going to become a big greasy tentacly monster, and he does. And he's like pretty much like he's lost it. He like don't even know who he is anymore, and he's like just stomping all over his own army. And so this guy is nuts. And this whole last arc is nuts. Yeah, I mean the last few chapters of this arc are nuts. In that you get the Skull Knight comes out of nowhere with like this crazy sword that can like cut through time and space or something. I don't know, man. It is crazy. Femto shows up. This ending, guys, was so crazy. I do need to reread it because there's every other panel. I was like, what? Who else is going to walk through that door? It kind of felt like when you were watching a Royal Rumble and like someone else was going to kind of come out that you weren't expecting. So yeah, it's crazy stuff, and I really don't know what to say really outside this ending. But yeah, Ganishka, what a character, right? But again, some of those panels of Ganishka in his like crazy forms really is some of Mr. Miura's best work ever, I think, up to this point. And again, I'll say it again. I say it every time I talk about Berserk. No one does a splash page like Mr. Miura. So good. The best part about that, though, was Zod and Guts teaming up. Anytime you got those two fighting, it's great. Anytime they're going to be fighting for someone else, take my money. That is great stuff. I want that panel of Guts flying on his back. I want that blown up into a poster and hung from my wall. That is the most epic stuff I have ever seen in the medium. It is so amazing. I love it. I cannot get enough of that. I do think it's weird that after that, he does immediately tell Guts, yeah, don't touch Griffith, though. So he's still protected. I'm not going to lie, guys. If his motivations, what actually his motivations are in this story, if they've been really revealed, I'm not sure that I understand. It's like the Skull Knight and Zod are still the two biggest question marks for me in what it is their overall goal is. So these are things I feel like doing a spoiler video, opening these things up for discussion is a great idea. Now, if this has gotten revealed in the next arc, or if it's already been revealed and I missed it, that's fine. Please tell me. If it's stuff that we still don't know, or if it's stuff that's in the Fantasia arc and I need to read and find out, please tell me that. Don't give me the answer. These are mostly rhetorical things. But if it is stuff that has been answered and I just have not understood, which is quite possible, especially with the Skull Knight, because that dude speaks in more riddles than Gandalf the Grey, then I think that, yes, I think that you would please tell me. That would be a great help. But you would think that this big battle here would be the end of this arc. But it isn't. And you would think that this big battle, this moment, would be my favorite part of this arc. But it's not. For me, it is that moment when Casca falls off the boat and Guts jumps in to save her and he can't because of his arm. He can't save her. And, that's when he has that moment. He realizes things are never going to go back to the way that they were. And I need to quit trying to force it. And that's just like a very sobering moment. It almost feels like a moment of acceptance. Not quite, in a pouty, emo, oh, the world hates me kind of way. Just in like, I need to accept this and understand that this is the new normal. So Guts has come to terms with something that I can't, apparently, because I am still like, no, give me back my Casca from Golden Age. I want my Casca back, So hopefully that does happen. Like I said, I know now that I'm coming up on the parts that are incomplete, obviously. That's one of those things that I'm hoping has been resolved before Mr. Miura's unfortunate passing. But, the series is continuing on now, so that's cool. So pretty soon, guys, I will have to wait like all of you have. So I don't know how this the continuation is going to go. I do know that, was it Koji Mura? Is that his name? I do know he apparently was very close with Mr. Miura, and he does know the ending, and he's been very steadfast, and he's not going to be adding any of his own stuff. It is just going to be the story that he knows about. So fingers crossed, guys. I don't know how well his assistants can draw. I don't think anyone in the world can draw like he is drawn in this arc. So we shall find out. But yeah, I'm glad that I finally got around to doing this, guys. It was never anything that I intentionally put off. It's just, look, I am a book reader first. Manga is way down there on my to-do list, and then I started doing other things. So it was never something that I meant to put off this long, and I apologize for that wait. As for Fantasia, I'm not sure when I'm going to do that because, guys, I have started doing Vinland Saga. I've actually started doing Monster by Mr. Urasara. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at right now for manga. I'll be talking about Vinland Saga on the channel here pretty soon. I already read the first arc of that. But I knew if I reviewed that before I reviewed this, you guys might actually start a revolution in the comments. So, guys, I'm sure there's lots more to talk about with this arc that I didn't really get to. This is really be going off of memory of reading this slowly over the last year. So I'm sure there's a ton of things I forgot to mention. So please, what was your favorite moment? Bring it up in the comments. Let me know what you think, because I would love to have the memory jog and talk to you about them down below. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you there.